We're going to be talking about how to handle backtalk and disrespect tonight. We are Bonnie and Thomas Leota. If you're just joining us here in the CCFL ADHD and ODD group, we want to say welcome, and we want to encourage you to go to learntospeakkid.com and download the free resources there. The only purpose behind having you download and read Raising Healthy, Happy, Cooperative Kids is because you're going to have a crystal clear picture of how we as parents and we as educators have gotten to a point where every second communication with our child is a meltdown or an argument, or there's just a lot of stress and negativity going on in households all over North America and all over the world. And we know because we talk to parents every single day. We're going to help you find more peace, more harmony, more love, more joy inside of your home environment or your classroom environment, wherever it is that you're raising kids. And I wanted to share just a couple of quick comments from clients that are studying with us. One of them was dreams can come true. Some people might even call this magic. Okay, there's no magic, but we can see it as magic because it works magical. The other one that I want to share with you tonight is thank you for giving me the confidence and skills to adopt my two sons, and which was pretty phenomenal. That actually brought a tear to my eye. This is the real deal. I just want you to think about what we have been learning for, say, the last 85 years, the timeouts, the takeaways, the authoritative type parenting that you see on Super Nanny. That is how you and I as parents has been trained in this generation to raise our kids. We've literally been wired in a certain way. And I do believe that it was created or developed in order to help, because if you went back to 1946 and before that, children were actually, beat with switches. They were locked in closets. They were starved all day. They were tortured. Little 7-year-olds with big logs on their back like this for hours at a time to teach them their lesson. And so when timeouts and takeaways were introduced in 1946, they called that positive discipline. And that's the track that we've been running on now for 85 years. So I like to call it generational parenting wiring. And that's where we're at today. Now, when I first started learning about creating champions for life back in 2011, I had made a decision. My kids were aged 6 to 13, and I had made a decision when I was pregnant with my first one back in 1998. I had made a decision that I was going to give my kids a happy life, a great life, a better life than what I had when I was growing up. I wanted them to have the finer things and to know how much I love them and to know how special and great they were. And you see these videos now where parents are holding the newborn, I'm never going to let anything happen to you, right? We want to protect and love our children and give them a great life, don't we? If you're on the same page, give me a like or a heart or something so I know I'm not talking to myself. All right, but I wanted my kids to have this just wonderful life. And so I worked my butt off to give them a great life. I was a single mom from the time my oldest was 6, and I had 4 from the ages of 0 to 6. And they had everything that their little hearts desired. Mom, I'm hungry. Okay, get right on it. Mom, I'm thirsty. Okay, be right there. Mom, I want a birthday party. I want this, I want that. And they had every luxury that money could buy. They had their own, DVD players and cell phones and computers. Actually, we had cable TV. You get the deal. We're living this. They had everything that their little hearts desired. But yet, when I asked them to help me bring in the groceries, for instance, or bring in their packages that we just finished buying at the store or anything like that, I would get eye rolls, like a groaning, moaning. Dina, you were talking about being mimicked. They mimic us. It's called disrespectful type of behavior. And since working with Thomas and learning Creating Champions for Life, this really new, fun, very exciting way to raise kids, I've discovered 3 beliefs that are keeping us stuck where we are in this kind of never-ending spiral of discontentness, right? Disharmony, this never-ending spiral of disharmony. And the number one belief that we have as adults raising children, whether you be an educator or a parent, is that, oh, we're going to get him a drum. Okay, so the number one belief is that they will actually outgrow it. If you have ever heard of and have bought into terrible twos, teenage rebellion, it's just kind of normal for kids to butt heads and argue and test their boundaries. And if we're on the same page and you've heard this before and this is a belief of yours, go ahead and click the like button. Because I know that when I had kids, I certainly believed all of the above. I had seen it. We'd call them terrible twos, horrific threes. I think there's name for fours. We're also taught that they rebel again at age 5 or 6. Then you've got the preteens and the teens, and there's all the hearts and the likes and the angry faces and everything else. Okay. Number 2. The second belief that is keeping us struggling in frustration and stress with backtalk and disrespect is we see it as defiant behavior, or what we would call bad or poor behavior. Defiant, bad, poor. I like to just kind of sum all of these words up to negative behavior. It's off the positive spectrum, so it's negative, and we believe that. Number 3 is that we need to respond to a child's defiant behavior, or what we perceive as defiance, with something negative also. So they backtalk, we yell at them, or we ground them, or we take something away, or we end up headbutting. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard this. I'm sure that you've heard this, right? But 2 wrongs don't make a
right.
2 wrongs don't make a right. All right. So number 1, they'll outgrow it. Number 2, we see it as disrespectful or as defiant behavior. And number 3, we need to respond negatively in order for them to learn those lessons. If you're with me, type in the comment bar. Just type yes, I'm with you. Just type yes, and then I'll know that you're with me. Hi, Stephanie and Robin. Welcome, you guys. We're gonna conquer belief number 1 first. Now, how many of you know that our children are very complex individuals, and that really there's not really a quick fix? Like yelling at them or grounding them or taking something away might fix your moment in the moment, but is it actually going to get to the root of the problem? Okay, I got a whole bunch of yeses. You guys are participating. I love it. All right, so is it normal to think that they'll just outgrow it someday? You know, they'll be 18 or 19 and they'll go into society and then they'll speak to everybody else with respect.
Well, that's very true. And you're right. There's really no magic age that they reach. Like they wake up at age 10 and all of a sudden now they're bed maid certified. That just does not happen. Everything must be learned. But there is one thing that all of us are born with that allow our mothers or parents to know that we need something. We have a goal. There's a want or need or desire. And if you had to guess what it was, you could probably type it in. It starts with the letter C, and it usually is a loud, right? You got it. It's a cry. That's the number one thing that all of us are born with. And the baby lets us know when they need something. How many of us remember that wonderful game called Guess the Cry Game? Yep, there it is. Cry. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. And so everything else above a cry is like an upgrade. It's a missing life skill that must be taught. Period. Hands down.
Yeah, this is so cool. Okay, so if we go back to the 1920s, there was one parenting book. It was written by a pediatrician or a doctor, and he said in that book that if we cater to our babies, our little infant babies, if we are to cater to our babies' every whim, these babies are going to grow up wussy adults. So if you picked up a crying baby in 1925, you were considered a bad parent. Fast forward to 1946, Dr. Spock writes Baby and Childcare. And in that book, he says that all babies, like children, require a massive amount of attention, so that we should cater to their every whim. And this is when you and I began to, and this is like 30 years before I was even born, but my mom was kind of being wired to cater to children, and I was definitely wired to cater to children. Are you with me? We are only as good as what we have been taught, and that is the truth. And so you have a story right now to share. What is a little bit wrong with this picture and how it's taking us down this path of frustration and stress?
Yes. You know, when I first met Bonnie, she was wanting to be the super mom. Every time her children needed something, Mom, I need this, she would quickly run, drop everything she was doing to cater to what they all needed. And we're talking 4 kids at a time. And so here's a story that will probably bring a little bit of light or insight, or like, oh yeah, I remember this. Where did I forget? Where did I go wrong? Okay. Well, if you look at the sperm whale, they got the mom, and they actually just kind of go vertical and they sleep. They're just waiting to rest so they can dive down deep where their food is. Now, their baby has no idea where this food comes from. All they know is Mom. Right? They just nudge into it, and the mom's like, opens her eye. Okay, that's it. They don't drop what they're doing. They stay on track, what they need to do. And after the sperm whale is rested, they dive down. Now the baby is hungry, so it follows. Right? This is very key. The baby follows, so they start to plunge. And this is really a deep, I think it's like 800 meters down that they go, because that's where the mom knows the food is. The baby follows, but you know and I know it can't make it all the way. So it goes down some of the way and then runs out of air, comes back up to the top and waits. Meanwhile, mom goes down, does all this magic that the baby has no idea what's going on, feeds, comes back in an hour, and then gives the milk to the offspring, right? It does that. But there was something very key, that the baby followed the mom and went down as far as it could go at that time. Very key. Now, this process is like knowing our role as a parent. They know their role, that this takes about a year's worth of continual training to build up the strength to eventually let the baby know where the food will be, so mom can be done with her job, which is feeding her offspring.
This brings us to finishing up point number 1 with some action steps for you that are going to get you on the right track with exactly what you want. So with that being said, we all know what we don't want. We don't like the eye rolls. We don't like the voice mimicking. We don't like the back talk. What's one thing that you would like to see as a mom response from your child? Hey, can you pick up those socks over there? What's one response that if your child said to you would make your eyes sparkle and put a big smile on your face? Just think of one response that they could give you that would make you really excited. And I'm going to look for your answer in the comment section right here. What would you like to see more of as a parent when it comes to respectful answers? Yes, Mom. Thanks, Suze. Yes, Mom. And I see with an exclamation mark. So yes, Mom. I'm happy. I got a smile on my face. Yes, Mom. Getting right on it. Yep, Marta, you've been working with us for a little while because that's exactly what I just said. Yes, Mom, I'm right on it. I'm getting right on it. Oh, there's another comment. Oh, I like that one. Yep, I already did it. Yeah, I already did it. All right. Some of you new mamas, the ones that are just joining us. See, do we want our children to be dependent on us for every single thing that they need, want, and desire throughout their whole childhood and teenage life until they become an adult? Do we want them to be independent on us, or do we want them to become independent on their own? And you see, that's what the mom whale wants her baby to become independent without her. Because let me ask you guys this as I'm waiting to see your comments as they're coming in here. All right. If mom said, oh, my baby's hungry, and she woke herself up, stopped everything she did, and fed her baby right then, would her offspring have been motivated to follow her mom down into the depths of the ocean, however many feet it was able to go? I think it's 800 meters or something down they go to get their food. So let's say the baby went 250 meters down. Would the baby have gone down that far, as far as it could possibly go, if it wasn't hungry? Like if mom stopped everything and catered to the little offspring's whim? And Tammy, thank you for answering. The answer is definitely no. The baby whale needed to be hungry, and the mommy whale knows this. Mom whale says, I want my child to be independent and know how to feed itself so we can both kind of go on our own and live our own lives. That makes sense, right? Okay, so this is a great explanation for parenting today when it comes to respect and backtalk. Because if you don't know what respect looks like, and you're not modeling that with your child every single time your child, like say you're 9 months old reaching for the bottle, if you've got a 9 month old baby at home, this is a great time to teach your baby what? Please, peace. Here you go. You're teaching your baby life skills. You're saying it, they're saying it, then they receive their reward, which is the bottle. How much does that make sense? So think of 3 different responses you would love to have from your children that would put a big smile on your face. This is step 1, knowing exactly what you want to see more of.
When you think about it, what is it that the child does want? They want what's important to them. It's their goal. Whatever it is that's off your radar. Sometimes we don't even know, but at the same token, it's shared as a cry. That's the only way they know for communication, was to cry. This time they might be 2 years old, 5 years old, or 10. And so that cry becomes what? It becomes a cry with hands. It becomes a cry with
biting,
throwing. It becomes a cry with taking something and throwing, kicking, yelling, or better yet, they might have actually still be using that cry to mentally make you feel like you're this big. I hate you. Makes sense, yes?
Absolutely. And the other one that I want to fit in here, because there was a couple of you, Ruth and somebody else, had said that when you're offering your child choices like A, B, C, they're going, well, I want Z. All right. And so the one thing that I want to say right here is, if we go fishing, right, we're trying to catch a fish with some bait. So we throw some bait out there. Now, if the fish has already eaten, like we missed dinner time, is the fish going to bite on that bait or swim right on by? Right? The fish is going to swim right on by. If you put like a chocolate chip cookie on your fishing rod and you throw it in the water to catch a fish, is the fish going to go after the cookie? Nope. It's going to go right on by. So this is really, really important. Yes, they stomp feet. That's all a form of backtalk and disrespect, isn't it? Stomping feet, throwing things, arguing, yelling, mimicking, all of these things. So right now we're working on step number 1 is, what is it you want to see? What is your goal as a mom? What answer can your child give you that would put a big smile on your face? And number 2 is, what does your child want? Because if you're saying, oh, do you want this trip to Disneyland? And you're like, oh, my child doesn't even care about a trip to Disneyland. Well, what they really want to do is play video games later. And you're offering them A, B, and C. But what they really want, the bait that's going to get them to engage with you and work with you in harmony, is Z. It's what they want.
So, yeah, so when we're looking at their options, right, this is a part of where they start to give you those options. The first one might be that eye roll or whatever it was that you thought was bad or disrespectful or backtalk. Well, basically, that's like one of the three, because that's like the lowest one, right? They're communicating. And when we know our role and we begin to see that it's really not behavior, that's a belief, that they're actually just communicating, and we're still playing that cry game where it's like, oh, the eye roll means, yes, I would like that, but they don't see it in a way that we want to see it. So it's really that kid's brain and adult brain, isn't it? It's like we can really go back as kids and understand it, but a kid can't come forward. A child's not going to know that eye roll or saying okay or you bet, mom, I'll get right on it. Out of those three, one of them's going to give them everything that they want. All they knew was to give you the cry, which was the disrespect or the bad behavior, because that's how it showed up. And we trained them in that way, where when we begin to show them, yes, that will get you some of what you're looking for with the back talk or the eye roll, as we would perceive it as disrespect. But if you could just say, okay, just something neutral, just okay, it would receive more. Or better yet, it might be the one that the adult knows, which is, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, get right on it. Matter of fact, I already did it, would get them most, if not all, of what was most important to who? Not us, but the child. And all they know was to start out with cry. So it's really knowing our role to upgrade that cry to these three options, so they have an actual authentic choice, and how much they would like to see show up can by them learning which one to say. And that is so key, because if they knew it, they would always pick the right level that's right for them. And that's what we think they automatically know, but it doesn't happen. It must be taught. There's no magic age that it just clicks.
When your child is eye rolling, back talking, mimicking you, the worst thing that we can do is take it personally, because it brings us to point number 2, is we see it as defiant behavior or bad behavior. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I've seen some pretty mouthy kids, and it probably is, but here's the thing. We can't control our kids. We don't own them. They're not a pet or a piece of jewelry. We can't just make them by yelling at them or scaring them. We've tried this all already, and it's not working. It brought us here. So belief number 2, as we see it as bad behavior, brings us to module number 2, which is kids' brain versus parents' brain, and how they see the world completely differently than we do.
A great story would be like the kid's brain or the adult brain. Is you would have, like, say, a dad who is taking his kid out to the backyard, and they have a bat and a ball and they're playing. The dad thinks, oh boy, my little boy's going to be a baseball star, right? And they're thinking all these great things, and they give the wiffle bat. So the kid's sitting here like this with his bat, and he's holding it like this, and he doesn't know how to hold it. So he's being corrected. And then the dad throws the ball, and the kid just looks at it like he doesn't know what to do. And he's like, well, swing the bat. So he's swinging the bat, and he's like, no, wait, I'll hit the ball, right? I throw it, it comes, he misses. And then dad says something that usually will make things click and bring some humor to the situation. He says, keep your eye on the ball, little Timmy. And so here's little Timmy. He sees the ball, that it lands. Keep my eye on the ball. He looks at dad. He looks at the ball, kind of looks at dad, gets this funny look, and he bends down and he puts his eye physically on the ball, and they don't see the world the way we see it. So beginning to just explain something. See, that's where we've been in this loop of, well, of course they should know. We've told them how many times?
Yep.
10 times. We've told them again and again and again and again and again, and it's not getting anywhere. So when we can actually demonstrate, it almost would be like speaking with no words to the child, physically show them what it looks like so they can monkey see, monkey do, really put you into the power play for them to mimic or understand and begin to demonstrate what it is that you're looking to get across to them. And that is so, so powerful.
Right. I love that, because you remember being 15 and learning how to drive a car. Could you imagine me sitting on one side of the room or at the table, you sitting on the other side of the table, and I'm going, all right, now when you get into the car, you got to rearrange the front mirror and the side mirror so you can see. The side mirrors you want to see down the side of the car. The back mirror you want to see out the rear view mirror. Now there's going to be a brake pedal and a gas pedal. And I know there's two different pedals, but you only use one foot. So you're going to put your foot on the brake. So now you got the mirrors, right? We got a seatbelt on, everything. You're going to put your foot on the brake. You're going to grab the gear shift. You're going to put it on the letter D, because D stands for drive. And all at the same time, you want to look out the mirrors, your front window, everything at the same time. Now, if I were to describe to you like that, how to drive a car at the age of 15, 16, or even 55, would you, if you've never driven a car before, be able to take the instructions, the verbal instructions, and drive perfectly your first time? How many people give me a yes or a no? What do you think? Could you drive the car perfectly the first time, or might you need to have some hands-on experience driving a car to become really good at it? What do you guys think? Nope. Couldn't drive the car the first time, right? Who else? Somebody else commented here. Nope. I'm getting a lot of no's. So you all agree there's no way I could verbally teach you how to drive a car that would have you driving a car professionally. We all agree with this, right? So I want you to picture yourself. You're in a 6-year-old body, a 7-year-old body. It doesn't matter, 10 or 13 even. If we have never given the child 3 different choices, you can respond to me with the eye roll like you like to do. The eye roll would get you bare minimum amount of video game time. When you respond with okay, with an okay attitude, you respond, and I'm showing you exactly like this. You could answer me like this. That would give you the minimum amount of time. If you answered me like this, okay, that would give you an average or a medium amount of time. And if you answered me with, yes, ma'am, get right on it, you're going to get all of the amount of time that you're looking for to play on that video game. Repeat back after me. What's going to get you the less amount of time, medium amount of time, maximum amount of time? Now your child practice it. Yes, ma'am, get right on it. Absolutely. Every time you answer me just like that, you're going to make your dreams come true, because you know what? They're making your dreams come true. Are you with me? Okay, so in step number 1, you are going to make a list of different ways your children can answer you or respond to you that would put a big smile on your face. And then point number 2 is you're going to become aware that your child's opinion actually does matter. It is the bait. It's the gas that fills their tank. It's the hunger that drives them to learn new life skills. Because if you didn't have a burning desire to get in your own car and feel that highway, you would never take the time to learn how to drive, right? You got to have a burning desire. Children have the same inner feelings as you do. They want purpose, and they love direction and passion, and they love to earn things, you guys. We were watching a game show yesterday, and during the game, one of the girls started losing her energy, and there was no way she was going to finish. And then the purple team says, "You're not going to lose. I'm going to give it to you. Just keep going. You're going to win this. You're going to win this." And so the purple team gave it up. They let them win. And at the end of the race, guess what the white team said? I really wanted to earn that on my own. I'm going to cry. I'm like emotionally attached to this, because this is so powerful. That sounded so overwhelming, Kelly. Yeah, absolutely overwhelming. So it's overwhelming me teaching you how to drive a car. And so you using your words to explain to your child why they didn't earn playtime because they spoke disrespectfully. It sounds exactly like that. Womp, 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 womp. So instead of looking at disrespect as poor or defiant behavior, we begin looking at it as,
we get to see it as a missing life skill. So when we know our role, our job is to teach them by show and tell. Show me first, right? You give it a go. You know, you really look at the natural harmony is that at first, yes, they're 100% independent on us. So we got to do everything, right? And then we start doing things with them, with the idea and the direction and the power and the passion to say, you know what? One day you too are going to be able to get this glass and fill it up with water and go like this.
Yeah.
Anytime you want. It's going to be a magical world. You too are going to get up when you want and be able to get yourself dressed and be ready to go out the door and go to where it is that you want to go. You're going to be able to get on your bike. Oh, you don't have a bike. Oh, there's going to be this way that you're going to know how to earn it. You'll be able to find out what somebody else wants, and then you'll be able to make it just happen. This is so powerful. We have a visitor. And with this all idea is that we actually put ourselves out of a job, out of business as being a mommy or a dad, that the child now has the ability to do anything and everything all on their own and become independent. That's the main purpose. That's why we're together. And you're right, little Timmy. It does suck that your opinion doesn't count. I understand that you're not able to vote until you're 18. But I'll tell you what, I got 3 ways that you can make it that us big kids, right, or big 2-leggers can do it. And if you can do one of these 3 ways that we do it, you're going to find some, most, or all of what it is that's most important to who? Not us, but you, little Timmy. How exciting is this?
it is exciting.
It's counterintuitive to what we might know, but when you get back into the swing of things, the natural cycle, everything that is a disorder or a deficit automatically just disappears all by itself. It's one of the most amazing things that if you've had a chance to experience it, which some of you are already on this webinar here with us, know it firsthand, you almost think, wow, I'm glad I know this now, or where were you 10 years ago when I had my first kid? That is the number one feedback that we always get once the light bulb pops up.
Belief number 3, keeping us in this downward spiral, is we need to respond negatively to negative child behavior. And you know what? We might be the first people in the whole world to tell you that's not so. You can always be with your child, on the side of your child. I mean, who loves your kid more than you do? Like who in this whole world is going to invest time, energy, and money into raising up your children to be the best that they can be besides you? Like who? And I'm going to tell you, there's nobody. There's no aunt. There's no, well, sometimes the grandmas do because you're part them anyways, right? We have some clients that are grandmas, and I just love them so much because they know they're seeing what's going on. And the grandparents now are ending up raising their grandbabies because their kids weren't taught the life skills necessary to be successful in life. And that's why we're here, you guys. This is the absolute answer. You can be on the same side as your child and get every single thing that you want and need from them with a positive, proactive, and loving heart all the time. Because what if your child's eye roll wasn't personal? What if your child started rolling their eyes at you at the age of 2, and right from then it's been negative, 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 all for a whole decade? It's just been, they do something negative, you do something negative. Oh, I'm taking that away. Oh, that's bad. You're in a timeout. Are you with me? If you're with me, give me a like or something, okay? So we don't need to. And I want to give you this vision before I pass this over to Tom. We all know what a garden looks like, right? So if you were to take a rototiller and make this big square piece of land, and you were to like get it all ready, you get the rows all ready, and you take the little carrot seed and you put the carrot seed in the ground and you cover it up and you start to water it. First of all, something to be aware of is that a carrot has a 7-week gestation before it breaks the ground, and you can begin to see the fruit of your effort begin to grow. Could you imagine planting the little carrot seed and coming back the next day going, it didn't work. It didn't work, right? And then you see this like weed growing up. So you got your little seed in the row, and then there's this weed, and the weed starts growing up over here off to the side, and you're like, oh, I don't like that weed. But you don't pull it up from the root. You just pick the top off. Right? So every day now you can't see your carrot seeds, you just see the weeds. Now we've got our hose, and because we're watering, we're picking out the weeds with our hose, we're actually watering the weeds. And because we don't see the carrot seed, it gets no water. And so what I'm saying is, let's say that the carrot seed is positive and the weed is negative. And we're spending so much time on these weeds trying to pick them up from the top that we're not even getting the roots. They're coming in stronger. They're coming in bigger and faster. And they're actually going to begin to strangle out your carrot seed. Can you see what I'm saying here? All right. So if we continue to respond negatively to what we perceive in our adult mind as negative type behavior, we are watering the weeds. We're watering the backtalk. We're watering the disrespect. But as soon as you can take a step back and go, I'm the leader, I'm the mom. This is what I would love to see from my children. You have it in writing. It goes from your head to paper. It becomes a real living thing. It becomes something. And then you begin to role play. And no matter what your child does, they roll their eyes, they moan, they groan, they complain, whatever. And you just keep your attitude loving and happy and kind. Awesome. Love the eye roll. I thought you wanted the maximum amount of video game time, but I guess you're okay with just a little. See you later. And then you start responding to your child. Your child goes, I want to watch video games. And you're like, absolutely. I would love for you to have that. That's the answer that your child's looking for. Absolutely. I'd love for you to have that. What needs to be done first? And then they go, I don't know. Well, I guess you don't know where the video game is, right? You guys, it becomes a language. We are learning to speak kid. We're giving you the tip of the iceberg. But if you can change your perspective from this whole, my child's bad, I got to punish him type thinking, we can begin to get on the right page. And when you have exactly what you want more of as a parent, and you have that set up as goals, and you create your plan to achieve the goal, whatever it is, it could be TV time, video games, it could be dessert after dinner. You can always break it down into, do you want just a little bit? Do you want a medium amount? Or do you want all of it? Because I want you to have all of it, because I'm your mommy or your daddy, and I love you, and I want what's important to you. I'm on your side. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Okay, you get to choose. See, who said that's a bad thing? Like, could you imagine being upset after a day of work and somebody's telling you, get a better attitude, you smile now? It's like, they're people, they're little people, and they need to know what's expected of them before we can treat it as defiant behavior.
Well, what's so fun is, if our attention was the hose, would we be watering the weeds of the rose? I mean, what a beautiful example Bonnie just gave. It's like, are we spending our time on what it is that's most important to them, or is it our interpretation of what we don't like? Because it would make no logical sense in the adult brain to go, oh, well, there's fire, don't like it, let me put gas on it, thinking it's going to put it out. They're giving us something that's perceived negative, and we're saying, well, if you're just going to have that attitude about it, there'll be nothing for nobody. And then the kid's just sitting there like, Okay, let me.
I just wanted to watch TV.
I just want to have my goal. And then all of a sudden, we go right back to what is that number one thing that they only knew how to get? It was the cry. But they're 15 years now.
Yep.
And you've been giving them the vegetables to make them strong and healthy. So now they can punch holes in walls. And they figured out that when they start doing more negative, you cow down, go, okay. You give in. So what we're looking at is the 3 R's. This is key. This is something smart for the note takers, right? The one that goes curious to serious, right? The 3 R's. Because whatever's recognized, right? Whatever you see, whatever's recognized and rewarded will always repeat itself.
Yes.
So if we're giving them, right? That's that other belief that if we give them the best, right? All the kids have bikes. So dad shows up with a bike for his boy. Yeah, I'm a good dad. What a great dad. Look at him. He got a bike for his son. Yay. And the dad's like, yep, look at me. I got him the best one. And he gives it to the kid, and the kid's on cloud 9. Woohoo. And the next day, the bike's left out in the front yard in the rain. Oh my gosh. Do you have any idea that was a $700 bike? Kid's brain has not a clue. They didn't do anything to earn it. They didn't even know how the process happened. We see that. We take it away. Dad, where's my bike? Well, I put it away. What? And it's like that negative. There's nothing in the kid's brain that's going to pop up and go, oh, yeah, I remember how to make sure it's put away properly. It's all these missing life skills. So when we think that we can give them the best and they're going to step up and rise to the top, it will never happen that way. There's no magical age that makes things click.
For those of you that were here in the beginning when we shared the story about the whale and how the whale did not cater to her offspring, she did what she needed to do. If the mama whale had just fed her offspring the minute that it kind of said, Mommy, I'm hungry, would the offspring have been motivated to engage in learning the life skill? What do you guys think? I have a story to share with you, and it is about Michael, and he is my little birth grandbaby. And when he was about 18 months old, we went home for a trip. And so here's this little guy, still in diapers, can't speak or anything like that. And he had found his outside voice. And so he was screaming at the top pitch of his lungs all through the house for 2 weeks already. And they had tried everything that they could think of. They'd followed him around and said, no, we don't do that. They put him in a timeout. They tapping him on the lips. No, Michael. And they were getting mad and angry and everything else, but he kept doing it, kept just screaming. So I come into the picture and they were kind of complaining to me how their ears were hurting and they don't know what to do. And this is where I just went up to the little guy and I'm like, Michael, you found your outside voice. I love that. I love it. So when we want to scream like that, all we have to do is go outside. Now we're from Edmonton, Alberta, and it's like -30 outside. And so I just grabbed his little jacket and put it on. And here's this little guy and he's looking at me like this. Like not saying a word, not screaming, not defying anything. I'm just validating what's important to him. And he's looking at me like this. So I'm putting the coat on and we get outside and I'm going, and I'm screaming. I'm like, out here, we can scream as loud as we want. And I'm screaming, everything. And he's still just looking at me. And so then I'm like, okay. So we go back, we go inside. Inside, we use our inside voice. See how they had been following around for 2 weeks, kind of nagging at him and punishing him and everything else. And all I had to do was just show him, we use our inside voice. And within 24 hours, there was the 18-month-old baby going, I can choke myself. He's going, he's like running around the house yelling in a whisper. He found his whisper and he was just as excited by that. Okay. So we have to just stop taking things personally. Your 15-year-old rolling their eyes at you is a young man who is looking to achieve a goal. He's been told no or can't or don't or everything that you don't want or something like that. And there's no crystal clear vision in that young man's mind about what he can do to accomplish his goal. And let's say he's 15 and he wants to drive and you're like, no, you can't drive. I mean, you're not even of age yet. And you get the back talk and the disrespect and the eye rolls. all you got to do is tell him as soon as he turns 16, you'll teach him to drive. Like, he's just looking for the way. And we've got to begin this new habit, a way of speaking in terms of what we do want to see, what they can do to make what's important for them happen. And anytime we go, you don't get this because you didn't do that, we're just going womp, 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 and they have no abstract thinking. They have no concept, no vision, no purpose, no goals. And that, my friends, is what causes a massive amount of anxiety, also depression, and oppositional, defiant type behavior. While Tom is finishing with his closing thought, if you have any comments, observations, or questions, now would be the time to put them in the comment bar so we can address that for you.
Yeah, so true. Wow, how amazing is this? I love these beliefs, right? One, let's just kind of recap. This was awesome, is that they'll eventually outgrow it. And right? Mythbuster. No, they're not going to outgrow it. They got to be taught stuff. If they could outgrow it, they would be like spiders. They don't even have to go to ITT Tech Spider Web 101. They would just know.
Would be so easy. Like, I would sign up for that. Oh, here's my baby. Oh, they're one. Oh, they know how to hold the bottle. They know how to walk. Oh, they're two. Automatically pee in the potty. Yeah. Right. And so when we're looking at backtalk and disrespect, it is exactly the same as looking into your baby who's learning to walk, looking at your toddler who's learning to use the potty, or looking at your 4-year-old who's learning their manners. It's the exact same thing, and we need to look at it like that, because when you respond emotionally, trust me, your 14-year-old who is like not getting what they want from you, that's their reward. Their reward is you getting angry. It makes them happy because they're unhappy. So they want you to be unhappy. So we can either choose to allow our children to continue pulling us down into their darkness, or we can step up, rise up, and go, you know what? If it is to be, it is to me. I'm the mom. I make the plans, and it's my job to prepare my child for the real world and to begin teaching them how to earn things and teaching them how to be respectful to adults.
I know. Wouldn't it be fun? It would be like, hey, Bonnie, little Timmy's going to be 5, which means he'll make his bed every day. And then when he turns 6, the garbage makes it out to the curb every day. It'd be awesome. All right. So number 2 was that bad behavior, right? They think that they're doing it on purpose, or they're doing it in a way that's malicious, right? That was that other one. And the other one is that we have to be negative to a negative. Somehow that's going to make a positive. The only place I've ever seen that really work is when you take a negative number times a negative number, then it makes a positive number. But that's the only place. It will never do it here. And so if you start that belief is that, yes, we gave them the best and they're going to rise up, won't happen. However, if we do have to give them the best of the 3 minimum things, this is very key to keep in mind, like a base. There's some food, there's clothing, and then there's that shelter, right? That's why Child Protective Services is really in place, is so that they're fed, they got a place to sleep, and there's something to wear. Now, what's so amazing about here is that those $200 designer jeans does not fit as bare minimum standards, right? You get them something to wear. This is on your feet. And I can remember my mom saying the exact same thing, but I want those. And they were the cool things that all the other cool kids at school got. And I was getting these Kmart fall aparts, but I had shoes, but I wanted the Nike Airs, you know, it was the coolest thing back in the late 70s. And she said, well, if you want, you can earn them. And I remember her sharing that vision with me. And I remember how they showed me one time. Well, I remember mowing the lawn and I got $5. I mean, and that was a lot of money. And we're like, well, gosh, if I mowed it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, I could see that happening. And once you've done it once, and once your kid gets on the roll of like, you showed me the secret of how I can make anything show up, oh, game on. Good luck on holding them back. Literally, we'll go back in 100 years from now, or 100 years ago, kids were actually learning their life skills so well that they were leaving the house, building their own cabin over 100 years ago. And so by us always giving them, thinking they're going to rise up, well, look where it got us here, right? It's really exciting. So when we can start to think that we got to give them that base, everything else is a privilege that they can earn, knowing our role. And oh boy, you would love that. I'd love for you to have that. That's called a goal. Let's show you how the big kids make these things show up. And yeah, there's 5 steps to it. But if you did step 1 out of the 5, we'll work with you a little bit. And then it's the next time a little bit more. You do 2 out of the 5, and they make it show up. It's a process, right? Because the natural law of knowing our role is so important, is that we do everything for them, do with, so they can do it all on their own. And when they got that down and they know how to tie their shoes, it's like a bucket list for parents. Once the bucket list is done, you're out of a job.
That's right.
And that is the name of the game.
Is it ever too late to fix these issues? My son is 10. Absolutely not. No, you can fix these issues whenever you're ready to begin working on them. So yeah, Julie, it won't matter if your son is like 15, 18, 25, 35, you see, because the thing is if we don't take the time to teach them now and we think we could just kick them out at 18, these kids come back when they're 25 or 30 with 2 more. That's the truth. and then you got to know how to teach your adult child how to earn to come back and live in your home with their own kids. See what I'm saying? It never ends. This is a philosophy that you can begin at newborn, and you can begin at 15 or 25 and make it work for you. I just wanted to say this. If you're watching this and you're like, wow, I see some things here, I didn't really quite get it. Some of it was womp womp because you've never heard this before. That's okay. I please highly recommend go to learntospeakkid.com, download the free resources, get the book. It's 61 pages. It's really easy to read. You're going to know the exact path to the breakdown of child mental health, and you're going to know the exact path to helping your child become mentally well as well. If you're loving this, you're loving the CCFL philosophy, I tell you what, if he coached you, you would have the Backtalk turn around, at least in your mind. You would never have to argue again in a matter of 48 hours, the exact same amount of time it took for Michael to figure out the inside voice. But I am offering 15-minute discovery sessions so that you can discover if what you're looking to accomplish with your little one and how we help parents could possibly be a match. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and then if we like what we hear, we can take a next step. And if not, that's totally going to be up to you. We're here to serve, and we're here to help every single parent on the planet know that there's a better, more fun, exciting way, positive way, connected way, harmonious way to raise our kids. Thank you so much for being here. Please invite all your friends to this group that are having issues with their kids, and let's get on the right track together. Together, each achieves more.